Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, committee members. Yesterday, we made excellent use of our time together. We have now caught up with the items foreseen in the provisional timetable and advanced slightly. We have finished all of the files for the representative list under item 8B, as well as the items 8C and 8D on the Register of Good Safeguarding Practices and International Assistance, respectively. Finally, we returned to item 8 on the report of the evaluation body and started the debate. The Bureau met this morning for the 4th time. During the meeting, we agreed to adjust the provisional timetable to reflect the advancement of item 8. There is a chance that we will be able to finish all items today if we all work hard and efficiently. Distinguished delegates, without further delay, let us now continue our meeting by returning to item 8 on the overall report of the evaluation body. When we ended our session yesterday, we had the following committee members on our speakers list: Netherlands, Switzerland, Kuwait, Sri Lanka, Cote d'Ivoire, and Peru. We also had the following parties who are not members of the committee: Austria, Latvia, and Armenia. Netherlands, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Netherlands would like to congratulate all the states parties and the communities with the new inscriptions, and we would like to thank the evaluation body again for their report and detailed recommendations. As we said in our statement earlier, we value the expertise of the evaluation body, and we believe we have to respect these recommendations. Due to the special circumstances of this meeting and the lack of time, we feel that the committee could not discuss properly the recommendations to the files. Like the delegation from Czechia said yesterday, the original draft decisions contain many serious issues, concerns, and challenges directly related to the principles of the Convention, for instance, on the involvement of communities. Sometimes the recommendations were removed or were redrafted in such a way that not much was left of the original concerns or issues. And we believe these concerns, as presented in the decisions, are important all the more because all the minor questions have already been settled by the upstream dialogue mechanism. These recommendations represent valuable guidance for implementing the safeguarding measures and the monitoring of the elements. We would like to ask the evaluation body to reflect on this in relation to the concerns expressed by the evaluation body about the lack of quality of the files. For instance, regarding the definition of the element and its social functions and cultural significance and the role of communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Netherlands. I now give the floor to Switzerland.
Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente. La Suisse félicite les États parties et les communautés qui ont vu leurs éléments inscrits. Nous encourageons les États soumissionnaires à tenir compte des importantes remarques de l'organe d'évaluation dans la préparation de leur future candidature. En ce sens, nous regrettons que les recommandations et observations de l'organe d'évaluation n'aient pas été systématiquement maintenues dans les projets de décision par le comité. Nous souhaitons aborder 2 points qui ressortent de ce cycle. Premièrement, nous saluons le nombre croissant de candidatures multinationales. Certaines difficultés en matière de collaboration et de participation des communautés ont néanmoins été observées. Pour y remédier et aider les États soumissionnaires, il nous paraît nécessaire de mettre en place des lignes directrices basées sur les recommandations de l'organe d'évaluation. D'où cette question adressée à Madame la rapporteure de l'organe d'évaluation. Comment de telles recommandations pourraient-elles être formulées? La Suisse et la Côte d'Ivoire proposeront, avec le soutien du Koweït, un amendement au paragraphe 8 du projet de décision destiné à améliorer la qualité des candidatures multinationales. Deuxièmement, nous nous réjouissons de l'augmentation du nombre d'éléments favorisant la durabilité environnementale. Cette question liée à l'agenda 2030 est particulièrement importante pour notre convention et nous félicitons le secrétariat pour le remarquable travail effectué dans ce contexte avec le projet Dive into ICH. De même, nous rappelons la décision de la semaine passée du Conseil exécutif de l'UNESCO concernant les impacts du changement climatique sur tous les patrimoines. Il nous semble important de refléter ces enjeux de manière plus systématique dans les candidatures elles-mêmes. C'est pourquoi la Suisse a déposé un amendement invitant le secrétariat à proposer une réflexion pour mieux intégrer la question de la durabilité. Je vous remercie de votre attention.
Thank you, Switzerland. Kuwait, you may take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Kuwait also would like to first congratulate the state parties and the communities for the new inscription. And also would like to thank the evaluation body for the job and the great job they've done. Also, Kuwait would like to echo what Netherlands says. And I think, you know, some of the files has some concerns, even though so the committee changed the decision, but those concerns, it would be, I think it was be good if some of them kept on the draft decision, the decisions, so the state parties keep it in mind. Also, Kuwait would like to urge the evaluation body to utilize the use of technology in the process. I think we have this exceptional year. And like we saw from the secretariats, you know, in the past 6 months, there is a huge improvement in the efficiency of the meetings and get things done much quicker time, even with the online consultation or on the online meeting. So I think, you know, I urge the evaluation body for the future work to utilize the technology to have their job easier, more efficient and time-saving and cost-effective. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Kuwait. Sri Lanka, you may take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Sri Lankan delegation wishes to extend our gratitude to all the members of the evaluation body for their hard work to make the 15th session a success despite the challenges we had to face due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you, and we would also like to state that despite the fact that the Intergovernmental Committee may have overridden certain remarks made by the evaluation body, it is paramount that the state parties should address these concerns which were made by the evaluation body in order to preserve the living heritage of their communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Lanka. Côte d'Ivoire, the floor is yours. Côte d'Ivoire, you may take the floor.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. La Côte d'Ivoire tient d'abord à exprimer sa satisfaction quant à la façon équilibrée avec laquelle vous dirigez cette session jusqu'à présent. Elle félicite une fois de plus l'organe d'évaluation pour son travail d'analyse minutieuse des différents dossiers, ce qui a permis non seulement de mettre en lumière les points importants de chaque dossier, mais aussi de pouvoir tenir dans ce timing que nous impose le coronavirus cette année. Alors, il est vrai que l'examen des différentes candidatures a permis d'inscrire de nouveaux éléments sur la sauvegarde du PCI, mais cet examen également a montré des limites qui amènent la Côte d'Ivoire à encourager le secrétariat à faire deux choses. Premièrement, poursuivre le dialogue en amont avec les États soumissionnaires de candidature. Cela nous semble important pour réduire les difficultés de renseignement des formulaires. Deuxièmement, initier en faveur des États parties des programmes de renforcement de capacités, prenant notamment en compte leurs besoins, dont certains ont transparu dans les différents dossiers que l'organe d'évaluation a analysés. Et nous tenons par exemple, à citer pour exemple qu'aucun État parti, en tout cas cela nous engage, aucun État parti ne peut avoir des difficultés à savoir que tel ou tel élément de sa communauté est un PCI. Mais de là à renseigner cela dans le document de candidature pour satisfaire la R1, nous convenons que ce n'est pas facile pour tous les États partis de faire ainsi. Et en retour, la Côte d'Ivoire encourage aussi les États partis soumissionnaires à solliciter auprès du secrétariat une assistance technique dans la rédaction même du dossier de candidature, et si cela est admis, bien sûr. Et si cela est fait, les États partis vont finalement maîtriser progressivement les mécanismes de la Convention. Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you, Côte d'Ivoire. Peru, you may take the floor. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, muy buenos días. Buen día, señora presidenta, buen día a todos los miembros de este comité, de este distinguido comité, y a los observadores. El Perú desea tomar la palabra para agradecer al órgano de evaluación por su excelente trabajo y por sus acuciosas recomendaciones en relación al trabajo en futuro sobre nuestras listas en la convención. Deseamos invocar a los estados parte a utilizar con mayor énfasis el mecanismo de la lista de salvaguardia urgente. Vemos todavía un gran desequilibrio entre el uso de la lista representativa, muy interesante y también un buen mecanismo de salvaguardia, pero consideramos que hay que poner cierto énfasis en la lista de salvaguardia urgente, porque sabemos que más aún ahora, después de esta pandemia, habrá todavía más elementos por diversos factores como la migración, la acentuación de la pobreza, etcétera, habrá aún más elementos probablemente en riesgo de desaparición. Por lo tanto, invitamos al comité a reflexionar en una futura reunión sobre cómo continuar mejorando el interés o incentivando el interés en la lista de salvaguardia urgente. Y finalmente, felicitar nuevamente a la presidenta por su excelente conducción de nuestros debates. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Peru. I would like to ask the Secretariat at this point to read out the remaining list of speakers. Mr. Curtis?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The list I have now, firstly, for committee members: Brazil, Saudi Arabia, Kazakhstan, China, Morocco, Japan. And then for non-committee members, Armenia, Austria, Latvia, Palestine. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Curtis. Brazil, you may take the floor. Thank you.
Gracias, señora presidenta. Buenos días a todos. Quisiéramos felicitar a los Estados miembros y a las comunidades cuyas candidaturas fueron inscritas en la lista de la Convención, y muy especialmente a los países iberoamericanos por la vecindad histórica que nos une. Nos alegra, señora presidenta, ver que el proceso de diálogo está definitivamente incorporado al trabajo del órgano evaluador, cuya excelencia una vez más se ha demostrado. Y el proceso de diálogo hemos visto ha funcionado muy bien, porque inclusive en este evento virtual hemos podido superar algunas dificultades que candidaturas que no habían usufruido de la posibilidad de este diálogo pudieron presentar sus consideraciones, y las candidaturas fueron definitivamente incorporadas. Aprovecho, señora presidenta, para felicitar a usted por la forma como está conduciendo esta reunión y a la Secretaría por el trabajo hecho. Muchas gracias y felicitaciones a todos. Gracias.
Thank you, Brazil. Saudi Arabia, you may take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Saudi Arabia would also like to congratulate all the state parties for their new inscriptions of elements. We understand the fact that due to the restrictions of virtual meetings, active support methodology has been implemented to propose amendments. However, we would like to echo other committee members in the fact that it was difficult sometimes to reflect and react upon some decisions due to the limited time. We understand the fact that this is the first time we're having meetings online. However, it is an opportunity for us to reflect and improve on in any coming sessions if, in case we have the same circumstances. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Saudi Arabia. Kazakhstan, please take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Let me express our congratulations to your balanced chairing and Secretariat for its marvelous work under very hard circumstances. We join to congratulations to the state parties with new inscriptions, which for sure will add more bright colors to convention. Kazakhstan is very grateful to the committee members for support of the nomination of our country in cooperation with Turkey and Kyrgyzstan. My delegation wants to thank the evaluation body and say a special shukra to its chairman, Mr. Al-Busaid. We took comprehensive notes on the evaluation body and comments, and it would be adequately reflected in all future plans of safeguarding and strengthening the element. We would like also to reiterate the comments raised by some of committee members during the session about the need for precise clarification of the criteria R2 and R3. Maybe at some point, the committee may wish propose to establish a working group on this important issue. Thank you, Madam Chair. Big up, Jamaica.
Thank you. Thank you, Kazakhstan. China, the floor is yours.
Delegation would like to congratulate all the states parties for their new inscriptions and selections as best practices. We would like to commend again all the evaluation body members for their excellent work and the assistance of the Secretariat under the difficult circumstances arising from the COVID-19 pandemic. And we also appreciate all the recommendations by the evaluation body based on its evaluation work. And we hope all the state parties would take full advantage of all the good examples for more quality nominations in the future cycles. And we also noticed that the evaluation body observed many recurring issues, such as over-commercialization, folklorization, decontextualization, musifications, and etc. And we hope that we could count on the Secretariat to develop more guidance documents to help with all the state parties for their elaborations of nomination files and planning and implementation for the safeguarding measures in the future. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, China. Morocco, the floor is yours.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Je tiens tout d'abord à vous saluer pour la direction efficace de nos travaux et de nos débats. Je veux également féliciter tous les États partis et les communautés locales qui ont vu leurs éléments inscrits sur les différentes listes de notre comité. Nous saluons également l'excellent travail de l'organe d'évaluation ainsi que le travail du secrétariat dans les conditions difficiles que nous vivons actuellement. Nous pensons que les candidatures renvoyées aux États commissionnaires ne signifient pas un rejet définitif et que c'est un appel à une amélioration du dossier. Et d'ailleurs, nombre d'États commissionnaires ont pu rattraper les quelques problèmes soulevés par l'organe d'évaluation et faire donc inscrire leurs éléments. Nous nous félicitons également de l'aboutissement positif du dossier multinational du couscous qui a été inscrit sur la liste représentative du patrimoine culturel et matériel de l'humanité. Et à cet égard, nous remercions l'ensemble des membres du comité qui ont donc confirmé cette inscription. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you, Morocco. Japan, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. First of all, I would like to echo the voices of other delegations in expressing our sincere appreciation for your leadership in the meeting. The meeting has been quite successful, and thank you very much for that. And secondly, I would also like to congratulate all the state parties, including us, in fact, for new inscription. And thirdly, I would like to express our appreciation to the evaluation body for very high quality analysis of individual items. And in this regard, I would also like to note with great satisfaction the success of the upstream dialogue. Our understanding is that 10 out of 11 cases have been guided towards successful inscription, and that was a very important achievement. In one case, there was a bit of a difference on that, but on the particular file, we were able to hear clarifications from Malaysia and Indonesia, which were, I believe, were quite convincing in many ways. So that was, I think that was a good development. In any case, it is good to note that the value of this upstream dialogue has been demonstrated in this current cycle. Finally, I understand that Switzerland is going to propose 2 amendments to the decisions. Perhaps we have to wait to see those amendments on the screen. But let me just make one very brief remarks about those 2 points that Switzerland raised. One is about the sustainability, the element of sustainability in the context of inscription. We fully support what Switzerland believes. And secondly, on the question of multilateral files, maybe we need some more clarification on this. So I'll come back to that point later when we discuss amendment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Japan. Thank you. Panama, you may take the floor. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair. For us, it's a great pleasure today to want to congratulate the evaluation group and also the Secretariat for the excellent work of this meeting, and of course, you, Madam Chairman, for the way the whole meeting has gone through and in a very speedy way. We would like to make reference to point 77 of the report in what is called recurring challenges. We feel that this is at the core of the future meetings and the future work of the Secretariat as a supporting body to the member states. These are challenges, no doubt, but these are very important challenges in terms of the future capacity building that our countries need, that our community needs, and especially the ministries in charge of foreseeing how this application of our convention will go forward. These are very, very important activities that I hope the Secretariat would be able to suggest how we can build capacity building plans and programs for the next years and following times. Because when you talk about issues like confusion between inscriptions, concerns linked to top-down, absence of measures, importance of audiovisual materials, confusion again, it means that we probably need to do more information services. We need to do really capacity building with the communities. And I would suggest that it should be inserted in the final report of this committee. Thank you again to you, Madam Chair, and to the Secretariat for the excellent work carried forward with our convention. Thank you.
Thank you, Panama. At this time, I will ask Armenia to take the floor. Please respect the 2 minutes time limit that is offered to each speaker. Thank you. Go ahead, Armenia. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson, for giving us the floor. The delegation of Armenia would like to refer to the nomination Art of Miniature presented by Azerbaijan, Islamic Republic of Iran, Turkey, and Uzbekistan. In this regard, and without any prejudice to the nomination as a whole, we would like to reiterate the preoccupations contained in our concern letter uploaded on the committee website with regard to the claims of Azerbaijan concerning the presence of Azerbaijani miniature art school inside Nagorno-Karabakh. Due to the lack of time, we will refrain from presenting in details the argumentation contained in the letter. However, we would like to state once again that the type of miniature the nomination referred to has never existed on the territory of Nagorno-Karabakh. The miniature of Nagorno-Karabakh has fundamental thematic differences, which was confirmed by relevant experts. The absence of letters of consent from the representatives of the region is another proof of the above said. Finally, we believe that the requirement of scientific rigor must, in all circumstances, take precedence over any other consideration. Nevertheless, we note with regret that Azerbaijan continues to use the nomination process for political purposes through systematic insertion of reference to Karabakh in almost all its nominations. Madam Chairperson, we would request to include this statement in the summary records of the meeting. And by concluding, we would like to congratulate you, Madam Chairperson, for the excellent conduct of our meeting and also to congratulate all countries for their successful nominations. I do thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Armenia. I will now recognize Austria. You may take the floor. Thank you.
Yeah, Madam Chair, please first let me congratulate you on your chairmanship, and our sincere congratulations go to all countries and elements of ICH that have been inscribed in the lists and registered during this week. Further, the Austrian delegation would also like to commend the Secretariat for all its work under these extraordinary circumstances for the excellent preparation of the meeting and of the documents. Our delegation congratulates the evaluation body for the coherence and diligence of its work, the detailed and insightful report, and its extraordinary efforts and dedication to the evaluation of nominations. We highly appreciate your work. There is one recurrent issue that we are still seriously concerned about. Having followed the work of the committee over the last days, and having seen that a number of nominations submitted in this cycle have been inscribed regardless of the recommendations given by the evaluation body, which is in fact a group of experts and accredited NGOs established by the committee itself. Some very relevant comments were neglected or deleted. The decisions taken seem to imply that a new tacit rule has been established, which says that elements are inscribed if 3 out of 5 criteria are satisfied, even if the evaluation body pointed out serious issues under 1 or 2 criteria. We are concerned that the current practice will have a distinctive impact on the future of the lists. Madam Chair, for our delegation, the credibility of the current inscription mechanism, including the dialogue process, is at stake. We trust that the global reflection process on the role and functions of the lists will lead the way towards a satisfying solution, one that will increase awareness about good safeguarding practices and further enhance dialogue and cooperation among communities and countries. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Austria. I now invite Latvia to take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me present a joint statement of the delegations of Latvia and Estonia. Our cooperation proactively responds to the online meeting constraints in the spirit of the convention while economizing screen time. We highly appreciate your efficient leadership of this novel convention format. We commend the commitment of the evaluation body and committee for fulfilling responsibilities in online modalities, and we appreciate the efficacy of the Secretariat in adapting to the current pandemic circumstance. We regret that the urgent safeguarding list and the register of good safeguarding practices continue to attract limited attention. However, we wish to highlight the positive increase in multinational proposals, revealing the diversity of our shared heritage. Being aware of the challenges of applying present evaluation priorities while keeping a limited number of files per cycle, we hope to see multinational files being evaluated also in future cycles. Latvian and Estonian delegations would like to echo the emphasis on the monitoring of inscribed elements as expressed in the report of the evaluation body, as well as in the report of the ICH NGO Forum discussed earlier this week. We acknowledge the need for more inclusive and participatory reporting where various partners could contribute, including UNESCO chairs active in the field of ICH, for instance. Finally, we congratulate communities, groups, and individuals and states with new inscriptions this year. We look forward to their follow-up and welcome the quick return of the files referred on committee's agenda. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Latvia. I now invite Palestine to take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me first congratulate all state parties who inscribed an element on the representative list. And let me warmly thank the evaluation body for their hard work despite the difficult circumstances. Madam Chair, we notice that the session went very smoothly, and especially when it came to inscription. And this is due, of course, to your chairmanship, but also to the upstream process and also to the respect of the gentleman agreement and as well the decision-making by steps. And I'm glad for this respect, since the idea came from me since 4 years ago. The gentleman agreement is not to refrain from opening the debate on elements who are not to inscribe. It is not to change the recommendation of the evaluation body from refer or not to inscribe when it comes to an element that does not satisfy more than 2 criteria. And this has been respected. And I hope that in the future, this becomes a regular practice of the committee. The second thing, we are looking forward to see the outcome of the working group on the revision of the criteria and the different mechanisms. After that, I think that we need to reconsider again the insertion of another degree in the evaluation between referral and not to inscribe, something like deferral. The proposal has been raised in the past, but I think with the situation that we met with the Democratic Republic of Korea, I think it is absolutely justified. And to conclude, Madam Chair, let me congratulate all the actors for the success of this session, starting by the Secretary, by you and all members of the committee, and of course the evaluation body. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you. I will now give the floor to Azerbaijan, but I would like to indicate at this time, again, to remind that we have 2 minutes for each presentation. Azerbaijan, please go ahead.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Il est regrettable que le comité soit une fois de plus confronté à une autre situation où l'Arménie tente de s'immiscer dans les affaires intérieures de l'Azerbaïdjan et d'autres États soumissionnaires qui unissent leurs efforts pour préparer une candidature multinationale. En ce qui concerne la mention du Karabakh dans le dossier, l'Azerbaïdjan souhaite rappeler que les communautés et les praticiens des écoles de miniatures de Bakou, de Karabakh, de Chamakhi et de Ganja constituent 4 piliers importants de l'art de la miniature en Azerbaïdjan.
Allô.
L'art de la miniature au Karabakh. L'art de miniature au Karabakh s'est développé au XIIIe siècle et a joué depuis lors un rôle important dans le développement des expressions artistiques traditionnelles, des peintures murales et de l'artisanat au Karabakh et dans d'autres régions de l'Azerbaïdjan. L'existence de l'école d'art miniature de Karabakh a été gravement affectée par l'occupation du Karabakh et de cette région adjacente par l'Arménie au début des années 90. L'art a continué à vivre et à être soutenu par des praticiens individuels en dehors du Karabakh, y compris les personnes déplacées qui avaient été expulsées de la région à la suite de l'occupation. L'école d'art de miniature de Karabakh reste une partie du patrimoine des communautés en Azerbaïdjan et personne n'a le droit de prendre aux communautés à ce qui leur appartient, leur créativité, leur culture qui transcende les religions et ethnies. Et nous espérons que les artistes pourront très bientôt visiter le Karabakh et la ville de Choucha récemment libérée. Nous exprimons enfin l'espoir que la prochaine fois que l'Arménie revendiquera des territoires de ses pays voisins et provoquera des conflits en créant des divisions entre les peuples de la région, les autorités arméniennes réfléchiront réellement à ce qu'ils peuvent faire pour soutenir le dialogue interculturel, la paix, la coexistence pacifique des communautés de culture dans la région. Je vous prie de bien vouloir inclure cette déclaration dans le rapport. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you, Azerbaijan. At this time, I will give the floor to the evaluation body to respond to the comments and questions from the states. Please go ahead, Chairman.
Madam Chairperson, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the evaluation body thanks the committee for the confidence it has placed in it. The members would like to congratulate the state parties for the inclusions of the new elements in the mechanisms of the 2003 Convention. We would like to thank those countries whose files have been selected as good examples, as they have enlarged the list of inspirations, showing the wide variability of living heritage, as well as of possible approaches to safeguarding the ICH. The members also appreciate the states parties' decision to take the recommendation to refer a file as an invitation and chance to further develop the nomination files and the possibility to enrich the presentation of an element with valuable additional information. This might be maybe an answer to the question of how to improve the nomination files in the future, and maybe also find inspiration in the original drafts as suggested by the evaluation body. The body would like to state that it could be compared to a loving parent who at times deprives his children of a small amount of joy, not for his own pleasure, but with a view of building a future happiness of these children. It is therefore, although with reluctance, that evaluation body sometimes decides to recommend a file for referral. However, these recommendations are always made in the sincere hope that in one of the following cycles, the presentation of the element and its safeguarding in the nomination file will come back improved. Concerning the necessity of the guidelines related to the multinational nominations, the EB welcomes the ongoing global reflection on the listing mechanisms of the convention, and that might help to solve the issue. Meanwhile, we would recommend to take into consideration the good examples of multinational nominations recommended by the EB and the committee. To echo some of the comments as expressed by the committee members, as in previous cycles, the members of the body noted an inequality in the nomination file submitted. The representative list was accorded by far the most importance by submitting states, while the other three mechanisms were unused. The body discussed the evolving character of the interpretation of the convention, which also needs to be reflected in the evaluation process. Also, thanks to the 2003 convention, nowadays the idea of the importance of ICH in our lives in general is much more widespread than it was 20 years ago. Therefore, the discussions evolved around the necessity to shift our attention towards a more effective and well-designed safeguarding of the ICH that is based on mutual cooperation of various stakeholders. We believe that the inscription should be not the goal of all our efforts,
but the beginning of a beautiful and adventurous journey of building a collaborative spirit and actions around safeguarding the living heritage in our world of diversity. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Velansko. Members, we have completed our general debate regarding the report of the evaluation body. Please refer to document 8 and its draft decision in paragraph 7.8. I understand that Switzerland submitted 2 amendments, one on paragraph 8 and one on a new paragraph 9. If it is so, if it is the wish that Switzerland be given the floor to present these amendments when we reach their respective paragraphs, I would ask that they be put on the screen. I think that we can now proceed with the adoption of the decision as shown on the screens, paragraph by paragraph. Paragraph 1, citing the documents we have examined. I believe there is no objection here. Can we adopt? Adopted. Paragraph 2, recalling the operational directives and the resolution of the General Assembly that introduced the dialogue process. Do I see any objection? No objection. Adopted. Paragraph 3, expressing our satisfaction with the quality of the evaluation, the work of the evaluation body, and appreciating the support by the Secretariat. I trust that we can all agree here. Adopted. Paragraph 4, taking note of the unprecedented circumstances of the pandemic and appreciating that the 2020 cycle files could be evaluated in a timely manner. I think it is indeed important to recognize the great efforts made by the evaluation body and the Secretariat in this regard. I see no objection. Adopted. Paragraph 5, welcoming the positive results of the first full implementation of the dialogue process. Are there any objections? I see no objection. Adopted. Paragraph 6, congratulating submitting states whose nominations are considered as good examples. I do not see any objections. Adopted. Paragraph 7, related to the observations and recommendations made by the evaluation body concerning its work for the 2020 cycle. There are no objections. I see none. Adopted. Paragraph 8, appreciating the high increase of multinational nominations in this cycle and giving recommendations in that regard. I see there is an amendment tabled by Switzerland at the end of the paragraph. Would Switzerland like to present it?
Thank you. Merci Madame la Présidente. Ensemble avec l'organe d'évaluation, nous avons l'impression qu'il y a une nécessité de favoriser, de faciliter et d'améliorer la qualité des candidatures multinationales qui sont tellement importantes. Notre proposition vise à mettre à disposition des outils et des conseils pour la préparation des dossiers multinationaux sur la base des recommandations de l'organe d'évaluation et de bonnes pratiques identifiées. Nous visons un processus léger qui pourrait être mis en place par le secrétariat en collaboration avec l'organe d'évaluation. Merci.
Thank you, Switzerland. Does any other committee member wish to take the floor? Japan, please take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are not necessarily opposed to the notion of some kind of guidance for the multilateral files, but I'm not sure if it is a good idea for the Secretariat to prepare a guidance for state members. In that connection, I remember the rapporteur of the evaluation body also referred to this point. If I'm not mistaken, she did refer to this point, and she was suggesting that a global reflection process can probably take care of the discussions, possible discussions, and perhaps possible solutions on this issue. So one idea here would be to have a language saying that invite the open-ended intergovernmental working group on the global reflection to discuss the preparation of multinational files. Something like that would probably be better in this context. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Côte d'Ivoire, you may take the floor.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. La Côte d'Ivoire est très sensible aux candidatures multinationales parce qu'en Afrique, on a beaucoup de points communs avec plusieurs pays ensemble. Vous savez comment l'Afrique a été découpée avec les frontières, si bien qu'il y a beaucoup de similitudes d'une région à l'autre. Et c'est ainsi que nous pensons que les candidatures multinationales sont intéressantes en ce sens que les dossiers auront du poids et elle permettra également au plan culturel de montrer l'unité qu'il y a d'un pays à l'autre. C'est pour ça que la Côte d'Ivoire soutient cet amendement et c'est pour ça également que la Côte d'Ivoire pense qu'il faut que nous allions vers nous favorisions les candidatures multinationales. Et pour nous, Africains, c'est important, ces candidatures multinationales. C'est pour ça qu'on a demandé que l'organe d'évaluation nous aide que le secrétariat nous aide à préparer des notes d'orientation précises pour favoriser ces candidatures multinationales. C'est vrai qu'il y a une réflexion globale qui est menée actuellement, mais nous sommes un peu réticents par rapport au temps que ça va mettre pour donner les résultats sur cette note d'orientation. C'est pour ça que nous proposons qu'une préparation soit faite spécialement pour ces candidatures multinationales. Je vous remercie, Madame la Présidente. Je vous félicite pour votre leadership. Merci, Madame.
Thank you, Côte d'Ivoire. I now recognize Brazil.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you listen to me? Because apparently I had a problem with the sound.
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Oh, that's fantastic. Madam Chair, we will of course, support the idea of stimulating multinational candidature. We think this is an important element to increase diversity and also to show how the connection between elements and countries happens, and I think is very important. I want nonetheless support the proposal made by the distinguished delegate of Japan that we somehow include member states in the reflection on possible notes of orientation in this regard. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brazil. Kuwait, please take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to clarify, the reasoning behind this draft amendment that's submitted by Switzerland and Kuwait, Côte d'Ivoire. We are not, and I understand what His Excellency, the Ambassador of Japan, is voting for the working group and the reflecting. I think in that sense, what he meant that what the outcome of the reflecting working group will be much more detailed systematic regarding the multinational file. What we're looking here, what we're proposing for the Secretariat and the help of the evaluation body is a summary of a guideline to help and guide the state parties where they have multinational files, where we see conspiracy and differences in the file that's been submitted from different state parties. And this information already existed. They are existed from the evaluation body for the previous different years. Those information are there. All we're asking the Secretariat, with the help of the evaluation body, to have few pages, a guideline to guide these state parties. We are not asking something new to prepare. The information is already there and they are just scattered. So we're hoping the Secretariat and the evaluation body to have few pages of a guideline to help the state parties, multinational files, to be more consistent and more clear. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Kuwait. I now recognize Kazakhstan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For time saving, I will try to be very brief. The consideration of the nomination dossier during these sessions, especially multinational files, shows that in some cases, there is very difficult to propose joint safeguarding measures for the countries. It's a very difficult issue, and we observed it at least in 2 files during this session. That's why my delegation would like to share the concern raised by the delegation of Japan. Thank you.
Thank you, Kazakhstan. I now recognize Jamaica.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jamaica wishes to support in principle the amendment proposed by Switzerland. Also noting the concern that Japan has raised, but at the same time, we would like to stress the importance of guidelines rather than instructions in this regard. And if we take note of this, then we shouldn't have a problem going forward in terms of supporting this amendment. So we would like to add our names to Switzerland, Côte d'Ivoire, and Kuwait.
Thank you, Jamaica.
Thank you, Madam
I now
Chair.
recognize Czechia.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Nous comprenons fort bien le sens de ce libellé qui va aussi dans le sens de notre intervention qu'on a eue un petit peu avant ce point. Et on voudrait tout à fait se porter co-auteur de ce libellé et peut-être aussi demander au secrétariat si c'est possible déjà de préparer ce genre de note d'orientation, et on souscrit tout à fait à ce qui a été dit surtout par monsieur l'ambassadeur du Koweït. Je crois que nous avons besoin de quelque chose de pratique et assez tôt, donc on préférer que ce soit le secrétariat qui, bien sûr, avec l'aide d'organes d'évaluation et tous les États membres, pourquoi pas, puissent travailler sur ces notes. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you, Czechia. Now, I understand that the Secretariat may have some comments to make on this amendment. Mr. Curtis?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I would just like to give some clarifications on what is happening with the overall reflection, because I think there's a feeling that it's very far away. In fact, our next meeting will be the Intergovernmental Working Group for the overall reflection in June of next year, it is foreseen. Intergovernmental meeting. There will be an expert meeting before that. And that has several decisions behind it, including reviewing, re-examining criteria 2. We have a decision last year asking us to change the way multinational files are joined. And my concern, and so this will now be the priority for our work next year, starting with an expert meeting in the first part of the year in June, the open-ended Intergovernmental Working Group, which will then report to the next session of the committee in December. So in fact, it is not a long process. We are now coming into the end of the process, and we've taken some delays this year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So there's a workflow issue, but there's also a logical issue, because if the Intergovernmental Working Group decides to change some of the criteria, if the Intergovernmental Working Group also looks at the evaluation process, everything we write in this guidance note could become obsolete. So we feel that, and we fully understand and support the idea of a guidance note. We are not against it. We feel there's a problem of timing, and perhaps it might be positive to write about, to prepare the guidance note for the preparation of multinational files in order to improve their quality, taking into account the overall reflection on the listing mechanisms. And I will probably have a similar comment on the next proposal. I did hear some comments that the reflection is long and is taking long. It is highly unlikely that we would be able to do any guidance notes prior to this reflection, since the reflection process is really the next item on our work schedule. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Curtis. Kuwait has raised a point of order. Go ahead, Kuwait.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, as I stated before, could you please, and the secretaries, whenever, just to be fair and be professional, with our colleagues, Japan stated, they have an opinion on that draft amendment. I think it would be wise to have what Japan said to inflected in the decision, even though we submit and they have different opinion, but I think it's fair for them to have their point of view on the screen, so the other state parties can look at it and and compare what they are, in which side they are feel it's better. Japan's side, our side, there is no, so just to be more practical and clear before the secretary take the floors, so we can move forward. So from now, please, if any state parties have a suggestion on that in the DR, to be much appreciated if we can see it, to reflect what the ambassadors say and to be reflected on the draft amendment. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kuwait. I will now ask Djibouti to take the floor.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Je vais être bref. En fait, je voulais apporter notre soutien à l'amendement proposé par la Suisse, la Côte d'Ivoire et le Koweït, et dire que j'étais d'avis par les éclaircissements apportés par la délégation de Koweït et les préoccupations de Madame l'ambassadeur de la Côte d'Ivoire. Merci Madame la Présidente.
Thank you. Japan has asked for the floor. I will, however, ask Japan to provide us with the text of the amendment they propose, and that it can go ahead and take the floor at this point.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Originally, I had a slightly different idea, but after hearing the clarification by the Secretariat, maybe there are two options here. One option would be to replace the part invite the Secretariat and the following, instead of saying that invite the open-ended intergovernmental working group on global reflection to discuss the preparations of multinational files in order to improve their quality. That was the original suggestion that I had in mind. But after hearing the views, clarifications from the Secretariat, perhaps we can simply add at the very end of the current proposal by Switzerland after quality, maybe we can simply add taking into account the global reflection on the listing mechanism. That could also be okay from our perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I now recognize Saudi Arabia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is just to echo Switzerland, Cote d'Ivoire, and Kuwait. We would like Saudi Arabia to add its name to the amendments.
Thank you. I recognize Switzerland. Please go
Thank
ahead,
you.
Switzerland.
Thank you, Mrs. President. We would like to thank the distinguished colleague of Japan for his suggestion, which is fully in line with our reflection, and we totally agree to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Switzerland. Brazil, you may take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We will support strongly the Japanese amendment to this Swiss, Cote d'Ivoire, Kuwait, and Jamaica proposal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, another member wishes to take the floor. It's Poland. Go ahead, Poland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Poland wishes to be also added as a supporter of this amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Other members indicating. We have Morocco. Go ahead, Morocco. You may take the floor.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. C'est juste pour dire que nous soutenons de notre côté cet amendement. Merci.
Thank you. Côte d'Ivoire.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Je suis favorable à l'amendement que le Japon vient d'apporter à notre amendement. Donc, la phrase qu'ils ajoutent favorise bien ce que nous pensions et nous soutenons aussi cet amendement du Japon. Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you, Côte d'Ivoire. Kazakhstan.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. We just would like to be added to the list for Japan comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Sweden.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. We would like to thank Switzerland for introducing this amendment in the first place, and also Japan for the amendment, which we can agree with. So we support the amendment as shown on the screen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sweden. Sri Lanka. Go ahead, Sri Lanka.
Yeah, we would like to support the Japanese amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Botswana.
The same, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Kuwait.
Also, Kuwait would like to their names added with His Excellency, with the Ambassador of Japan would say it. Thank you.
Thank you. Panama.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are also supporting the proposal of Japan. Thank you.
Cameroon. Cameroon, please go ahead. Djibouti.
Merci Madame la Présidente. La délégation s'associe et soutient l'amendement proposé par le Japon aussi. Merci.
Thank you. Is Panama there?
Yes. Oh, no, but I'm not requesting again.
Go ahead, Panama. Okay. All right. Thank you. Colleagues, now we're ready to adopt paragraph 9 as amended by Switzerland and Japan. Are there any objections?
Sorry, Madam Chair.
Tim?
Sorry, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, perhaps it might be useful to use the same methodology to ask those who wish to support the Japan amendment to leave their hands up, and those who are not taking the floor to support the Japan amendment to withdraw their hands. In this case, we will know if we have on the list asked Poland, Cameroon, Jamaica, Morocco, Netherlands, and Czechia, Botswana, Poland. So, Cameroon, are we, Madam Chair, I understand I'm reading now to see which states support the amendment of Japan, and I read Cameroon, Jamaica, Morocco, Netherlands, Saudi Arabia, Czechia, Botswana, Poland, Panama, Peru, Morocco again, Republic of Korea, Brazil, Rwanda. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Curtis. Now we're ready to adopt paragraph 9 as amended by Switzerland and Japan. Are there any objections? I see no objections. Adopted. Colleagues, we now move to new paragraph 9, introduced by Switzerland. Switzerland, do you wish to take the floor?
Thank you. Just briefly, cet amendement fait écho à différentes remarques de l'organe d'évaluation qui salue les candidatures mettant en évidence la durabilité environnementale et qui rappelle l'importance de montrer les liens et les contributions de la sauvegarde du patrimoine culturel immatériel à la durabilité. Comme l'ambassadeur suisse l'a dit, nous félicitons le travail du secrétariat avec le soutien des Pays-Bas pour Dive into ICH avec les relations des éléments inscrits aux 17 objectifs du développement durable. Notre idée ici, c'est de mener une réflexion pour intégrer les liens au ODD et les contributions possibles directement dans les candidatures pour faciliter la reprise par le secrétariat et pour sensibiliser les États soumissionnaires. Il s'agirait ici de proposer une réflexion pour cette intégration des ODD. Merci.
Thank you. Does any committee wish to take the floor? Any committee member wish to take the floor? Kuwait, you may take the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just suggesting to follow the same mechanism as before. If everyone, just to save the time, if everyone in favor it, we can move forward.
I understand that the Secretariat may have some comments to make on this amendment. Please go ahead, Mr. Curtis.
Madam Chair, before I would do that, I do see we have the floor asked for by Botswana and Japan. I saw Jamaica, but they withdrew.
Botswana, please go ahead.
No, we were raising our hands to support the amendment.
Mr. Curtis, would you wish to go ahead now?
I believe Japan would like the floor, Madam Chair.
Japan, please go ahead.
Madam Chair, no, we support the process proposed now. Thank you.
Thank you, Japan. Mr. Curtis, you may take the floor. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I also would like to thank the delegate of Switzerland for their remarks on the work we've done with the DIVE, and we fully support, of course, the aims of this. There is, again, as we said for the last one, we will be working next year on the overall reflection for the listing mechanisms, which we will present to the committee next year. This is a risk of creating a parallel process where we will be presenting an overall reflection to the committee, and then we will be presenting a side reflection on a specific part of the listing mechanisms. It might make more sense and also more conducive to the work to have a slight amendment to request the Secretariat to include a reflection on this subject within the overall reflection process and present it to the committee. What I'm saying is that we can add this to the reflection on the list, present it as one item to the next committee as part of the overall reflection, and this will be integrated into it, rather than have a parallel reflection process going on.
Thank you, Mr. Curtis. Does any committee member wish to take the floor in light of the explanation given by the Secretariat? Sweden, could you go ahead, please? Take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. And we would like to thank Switzerland for introducing this very important issue. But we also understand the constraints from this that has been explained by the Secretariat regarding the already ongoing reflection. So we would like to support the amendment, but with the slight amendment by the Secretariat, so that this will be included in the current reflection on the listing mechanism. I don't know if the wording is already there. But we would support that with the amendment by the Secretariat. Thank you.
Thank you, Sweden. Jamaica?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jamaica would also like to support the amendment by Sweden and are grateful for the intervention made by the Secretariat and would therefore support the position and the wording to that amendment as provided by the Secretariat. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Jamaica. Brazil?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's just to endorse this amendment proposed by the Secretariat and endorsed by Sweden and Jamaica. I think now the para 9 is okay for us. We can support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Brazil. Can we now go to the methodology, Mr. Curtis? Those of you, could you go ahead, Mr. Curtis? You may want to.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just remind, at the moment I see 4 hands risen, Poland, Netherlands, Kuwait, and, well, I see 4 hands risen in Saudi Arabia. The methodology then would consist in asking those, so we'll start with firstly the overall paragraph by Switzerland. Those countries that support the overall paragraph as proposed by Switzerland, please keep your hands up. I read Poland, Netherlands, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Czechia, Djibouti, Japan, Republic of Korea, Sri Lanka, Jamaica, Botswana, Kazakhstan, Peru, Morocco, Côte d'Ivoire, Sweden.
And Panama.
And Panama. China. And then, Madam Chair, perhaps to see if our proposal, which has the second part, the amendment or the proposed amendment with Secretariat Sweden, Jamaica, Brazil, could all committee members first lower their hands? First, lower your hands, please. It's important, otherwise we don't know which one you have. Okay. Okay, now perhaps all committee members who support this extra addition, which reads, in the framework of the global reflection. Okay, I read Netherlands, Kazakhstan, Japan, Cameroon, Switzerland, Brazil, Botswana, Jamaica, Republic of Korea, Rwanda, Poland, Czechia, Sweden, Panama, Sri Lanka, Peru, China, Côte d'Ivoire. Madam Chair, I think Kuwait is asking for a point of order.
Kuwait, recognize.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I have no issue about the suggestion of the Secretariat. Just a clarification from the legal point of view. We are discussing a draft amendment. Can the Secretariat submit a draft amendment? Because if you look at it, it's them. Just from the legal point of view. I mean, I mean, as to my knowledge, they explain things. Then state parties submit a DA. To me, looking at it, it's the Secretariat. So just from the legal point of view, if that's legally or not. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Curtis?
Actually, you're right. So in that sense, would it help if we just removed Secretariat there?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Now we are ready to adopt paragraph 9 as amended by Switzerland and...
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Apologies, I see one more supporting state, Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Are there any objections? Or do we adopt as seen on the screen now and the amendments made? I see no objections.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I see Kuwait has also risen its hand, and I presume it's also to support the amendment. We will add Kuwait.
Okay, good. So we can now adopt as amended. Next, we have now adopted each of the paragraphs. I'm sorry. Just one moment, please. Next paragraph highlighted on the screens, recommending that issues and recommendations from the evaluation body report to be taken into consideration in the ongoing global reflection on the listing mechanisms. Are there any objections? There are no objections. We can adopt. Adopted. We have now adopted each of the paragraphs, and we need to adopt the decision as a whole. Seeing no objections, I therefore declare decision 15.com 8 adopted.